Since the Sandbox fans, we're back. I'd say we're probably about 90% right now. Great weekend at Uncle Tony's wedding. Twan was getting after it on the dance floor. Twan and Gomes going out.
Gomes is in his bag, dude.
Gomes came by here on Sunday and fulfilled his destiny of coming to watch football and just shooting the shit with the guys. Mike and Ben came by.
There we go.
Yeah, so it was a good time, but wedding was an absolute blast. I'm very sorry that your fight's disappointed this weekend, but yes, we're talking fantasy football, so we don't gonna go into it.
I just got over it, man.
Yeah, I know. There's so much like going on in the NFL just through 2 weeks. Like we're talking about a passing league and the numbers and the expectations that are supposed to be going on in the passing game, but like the touchdowns are down, the passing yards are down, receiving numbers are down, the rushing numbers are up, and it's like not even like some of like the top guys too. It's like really head scratching. I wore the tight end university shirt today because I'm like, where the are these guys? Like,
I know there's one guy right now,
and it's a rookie. It's literally Brock Bowers, and he catapulted his way up to #1 in the rankings this week. We're gonna start with the tight ends, but before we do that,
injuries,
man.
Holy shit, this week was crazy,
bro. It's week 2. It was like week 2 just finished.
All big names.
Yeah,
literally all big names.
So if you got CMC, obviously devastating news. Starting off the week, we had Tua, like, obviously hopes and prayers that this dude can just live a healthy, successful life and, be a father, a son, everything that goes on in this family world aside from football. But
they just placed him on the IR, too, like today.
Yeah, but the intentions are that he's going to come back and play this year, which is, it's shocking because it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't like a major injury. It was like literally, I don't want to say like the softest tap on the ground because we know how, delicate and fragile, everything is with like the brain and neurology and everything like that. But just for the sake of good football and good health, like you want to see that dude on the field since you know that that's his intention.
What would your thoughts be? Like if you were to, like at this point, do you have a thought on what you think Tua should do? And it's like we're not ones to tell Tua what to do. Tua's going to make that decision himself, but we've seen this a couple times now. It's literally on prime time all the time when this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand both sides of it, right? Like, you work your entire life to get to a certain point, and, like, this dude literally just signed, like, the contract that he dreamed of, right? I literally listened to the Move the Stakes podcast on the way here, and they're talking about, like, where all, like, the quarterbacks that are in the NFL today played in, like, high school and, like, how much, weather and training and off seasons take part from literally 13 years old throughout, your collegiate seasons and things like that. And, Tua was one of those guys that was, the highest remarked out of all the quarterbacks in the league today. So, I understand it. And, I know he's, very, very into his culture and like the Hawaii nation and, whatever he believes in. And I believe that he really did everything that he possibly could do to get on the field after, being titled and claimed as a bust. But, dude's got to wear a Guardian cap, like, no doubt. And I would say, like, running is, like, abysmal. Like, I just don't even think, like, it's worth it. And then watch. He's going to get, like, sacked and, like, hit into his own player's ass. And then his head's going to snap back. And it's, like, the same shit's going to happen.
It's fucked because, like, some people, like, dude, Tua's a tough guy. It's not, when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not calling him not a tough guy, but sometimes people's bodies have just, they've experienced it. And then one
trauma.
touch, it shuts the lights out. Like, it's just, your body can't take it.
Yeah. No,
and that's not good for your health going forward. So, like, at some point, I mean, they're going to have to make a big decision there, and it's on them to make that decision. Whatever they end up doing, I mean, we just have to sit and watch, but I just really hope that it all works out in the best.
Definitely a team that needs to be in the quarterback market in the future. And that's not saying, like, hey, like, they need to trade the farm and get a future first-round quarterback, but, like, maybe that second, third round, like, do your homework on, like, after, like, that top 5 guys, knowing that that's typically the number that's going to be involved there. But CMC got put on the IR. Like, we kind of broke that down a little bit towards the back end of last week. But Debo, Pacheco, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Evan Ingram, David Njoku.
Kenneth Walker ended up sitting out. Like,
yeah, so that was one that I didn't mention as part of that group because I feel like these ones are definitely kind of more like definitive and more long-term, like indefinite. Kenneth Walker is iffy because I feel like if they were going into like the playoffs, he probably could have played this week, but knowing his injury history, and they probably looked at it like, hey, like we're playing the Pats. Like, I'm not saying that in a disrespectful manner, but I think like that's a lot of like the conversation that like went into it. But with everything going on in the fantasy football world right now, I'm happy that it's just like even if he has to sit week 3. I didn't put him in the top 20. He's a name I left on the side just because we're wary about how to move forward with that. I'm preparing to have options otherwise. But at the same moment in time, I'm extremely hopeful that he plays this week.
And Charbonnet played well against a very good run defense. And the Seahawks are now 2-0, and they're going to play a defeated team in Miami. Miami is like, there's a lot that McDaniel's going to have to do to keep those guys focused this week. And I think Seattle could be in a situation where they're saying, listen, we're already up 2-0. We're going to play Miami. Who's a little mentally defeated. Let's just rest Kenneth Walker again. Make sure he's 100% for week 4, 5, whenever they decide to do it.
Miami's going to win this week.
No, they're not.
Bro, every single time a quarterback gets switched and a backup comes in, they get the dub. Happened this week with Malik Willis.
You like the Panthers, too.
I like the Panthers, too. I absolutely do.
You called it for the Pack. You think it's going to happen this 2 weeks in a row? They're going to happen again?
Bro, yes. The betting favorite is crazy. Look at what happened to all the favorites. The top 7 lines in the NFL this week didn't cover.
That is correct. But at some point, it's like regression against the mean. At what point? I really do think Seattle's going to win. I think that defense is way too much for Skylar Thompson to be able to handle. Like
Snoop, maybe we see some Snoop. Put Tyreek back there and just have 10 guys block.
Literally, like, just run wide. They should just like remember when they did like Ricky Williams Wildcat? Was it Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown?
Yeah, yes, it was.
Maybe they, but that's not
A-Chan, Jalen Wright. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got the backs.
You have Jeff Wilson. Like, you have the backs to do it. That's actually true. I'm not rooting for Miami though.
no, I get it. I mean, especially with like the Pats being in like their scenario. But let's get into the tight ends a little bit. We still have some questions. We have some bets, and we're going to talk waiver wire probably right before the quarterback. So let's get through the tight ends first. This is an abysmal position to really grade and rank and make 10 guys say like, yeah, these are the 10 best guys to play right now. But we're going to do our best here. So 10-6, Freiermuth. He's getting the targets. You know what I mean? He's getting 4 or 5 targets, like 3+ receptions every game. So, like, you want to see that. Pittsburgh's offense looks like, I don't want to say it looks horrible because they're winning games, but it's not, oh, my God, Pickens is going to have, like, 1,500 yards. And I know Najee isn't looking like as much of Derrick Henry as, like, you probably would like to at this point in time.
He's not playing, but he is not a fantasy running back, though. This guy is one of those guys that's just, he's going to get 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah.
And he's going to get his 13 carries, and they're going to be productive ones.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be flashy.
It's just so weird. Like, I feel like week 1, you saw, like, so much Patterson. And, like, last week, you saw so much Warren. And, like, this week, like, you just don't know, like, what's going to happen or who that guy's going to be.
I think Tomlin likes that, though.
No, he probably does. And I think he likes it all the more knowing that, like, Fields is back there, too. Yep. But Freiermuth at 10, like, just consistent at that position with targets. 9.5 Ertz, and like it's not flashy. He's not a guy I expect to get in the end zone, especially you got Echo, you got Daniels, you got B-Rob. That's a majority of what the red zone is going to look like for Washington. But Ertz is getting the targets, and like honestly, that's what it's coming down to at this point in time. 8 is where I have Parkinson, especially with all the wide receivers down for the Rams. I know that their offensive line is beaten up bad right now, and it's likely only a matter of time before Matthew Stafford gets lit up. And, like, I know he's one of those tough dudes, and I'm not hoping that on him by any means.
It's scary back there.
It is. And, like, I mean, they got worked by the Cardinals. What's going to happen versus the 49ers?
Who's their backup? It's not even, like, Wentz anymore. It's it's our boy from Georgia, Stetson.
But, oh, my God. Well, I was just literally having this conversation today. It's, Yo, Jimmy G.
Oh, it's Jimmy G.
Yeah. Even worse.
Well, I mean, the receivers are already out over there, so it's not like,
quarterbacks are next for sure.
Oh, my God.
So Paul gets in at 8. 7, I have Pitts. Disappointing primetime performance. Think it'll be a close ish game versus Kansas City. I think Mahomes is probably going to play a little sloppy, throw a pick.
Huge win for Falcons last night, by the way.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
huge, absolutely huge. We'll talk about it. And 6 is where I have Kincaid. Not where we want him to be. The passing numbers just aren't there yet, but Kincaid's still a top talent at the position, no doubt.
It's a good segue because at 10 I have Kincaid. So again, got him low. I think there are guys that are having some productive weeks that I do want to put in there. But Kincaid, it's one of those things that I think he can be effective against Jacksonville, but I don't think they're going to say, hey, we're game planning to get it to Kincaid. I think Josh Allen's going to see the field, see how Jacksonville's playing, and he's just going to make the right decision.
Absolutely.
And that's what I feel like Buffalo is going to do to be really, really good this year. Buffalo looks like a good football team, so I expect them to keep doing that. Hunter Henry, it's clear that they feel most comfortable getting the ball to the running backs and the tight ends. So I put Hunter Henry in here at 9. Did you snub him?
I snubbed him, but also it's Thursday night.
Thursday night. Yes, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Reminder, guys, I don't do Thursdays.
Oh, so you don't need Conklin at 1. So
yeah.
Okay. 8, Travis Kelce. The volume's not there. Now, do I think they're going to try and get him involved? Yeah, but I don't think that they're in a position where they're going to force it. I think Mahomes is going to make the right plays because we're seeing a Patrick Mahomes that's turning the ball over a lot right now. And I'm just saying, if we talk about Josh Allen, it's a different conversation if Josh Allen's throwing those interceptions where if Patrick Mahomes is. It's just a different conversation that way. Granted, KC goes out, they win games. A little bit of help of officiating, but it is what it is. They go out, they win the game, they hang.
Jamar Chase is an idiot, bro.
He is an idiot. Fucking idiot.
He's a large reason why that all went down. And something I just want to add in while you're on the Travis Kelce conversation, we will talk about him in the rankings on my next set, but I do think they have to make it a focal point to just make sure he's getting his share of targets. Right. Doesn't even have to be receptions, but he's going to see increased targets. But I think the biggest beneficiary of Isaiah Pacheco going down is Worthy's going to get the ball a shit ton, dude.
I think so too. And dude, you might see a lot of you think he comes out of the backfield at all?
He could, but I don't think they're going to hand him the ball to run in between the tackles.
No Debo kind of stuff, right?
No, but they could hand it to him in pistol. They could give it to him in shotgun and either, motion as a distraction to help scheme other dudes open, or just try and have options there. If he's the guy running, a wheel route or just kind of a first down type of route, he would actually do that and he would burn a linebacker or a nickel on that all day long.
100% agree. Yeah, do you like Pirine more or you like the other guy more? What's his name?
Steele.
You like Steele more?
Yeah.
Steele, yeah.
I know they just re-signed Hunt. I don't think if you're desperate at the running back position, you're picking up a P. Ryan and a Hunt and a Carson Steele, rookie running back or fullback, whatever we want. He has a nice head of hair. Great head of hair.
But yeah. That's a big thing. That's a big thing as a rookie.
But I just think it's going to be such a committee, and that's why I think Worthy and Kelce are going to have to see upticks. There's no way around it.
Sure.
Especially with the Hollywood news, that offense is literally going to be Rice, Worthy, Kelce. It has to be.
Yeah, but to be honest, that's a great fucking offense. That really is. Worthy coming in, making a big impact. Rasheed Rice is just getting the ball consistently. Could be a tough game this week without Pacheco, but the Chiefs are still looking like the Chiefs. Anyway, we're going to move to 7, Steve. I got Isaiah Likely in here over Mark Andrews. I'm going to give you a heads up. I don't have Mark Andrews in here. I think they tried really hard to get him the ball, and while they were successful in getting him the ball at times, wasn't to the volume that we thought they were going to force feed him. And again, I don't think that Mark Andrews is completely phased out of the offense, but I do think that there's just other things, and the Ravens kind of want to play a different way, and they got to do what they got to do to win. And I think that Likely has looked really good this year, even with last week only having 2 catches. He's just looked a little better than Andrews to me thus far. And at 6, if he plays, which I think he should, Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Evan Ingram here, and I think he'll get involved, and they're going to have a very competitive game with Buffalo and Jacksonville.
Don't have Evan Ingram on the list, and I do think that Jacksonville beats them this week.
I think they might too.
Look, I said it last week. You want to name a stadium after this dude, there's all these expectations. Oh, he's going to win that game. Somebody said it to me. Chad was texting me this morning, and he goes to me, he's like, he's like, yo, if they lose this game, Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a game since week 12 last year. He's like, they're going to put Mac Jones in. I was like, bro, they just named the stadium after him. There's no way. There's no way. But no, me and Chad, every single Sunday, we're on the call. What are the picks? What are we doing? All this and that. So,
you think Miami could go get Mac Jones?
I think they could, but I think Mac Jones is happy where he is, and he's finally like comfortable. Like, I'm not saying that he doesn't want to play, but like, look at a Sam Darnold, look at a Geno Smith. Like, Bryce Young, right? Let's talk about Bryce Young and just put a pause on this for 1 second.
Okay.
This poor kid, this organization, this disaster of a franchise failed this dude drastically. And look, I do think that it was the right move to like bench him. I think that the play was poor. I think that there's no offensive line there to help him. Their best defensive player is out on IR, Derek Brown. You traded away Burns. Chin's on another team. Horn just let up 3 touchdowns versus Derek Carr, and then
your best receiver's 34, 35.
And not Quentin Johnson just caught 2 touchdowns on the dude. Like come on now. I don't think that Bryce Young's career is all said and done by any means. I think his time might be done in Carolina. I think Andy Dalton should be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Maybe he didn't have the time to process or learn the way that he needed to, and understand schematics and reading a defense and all of that. I mean, when you're playing for Alabama, you have the best offensive line. You have the top talent. You have probably a running back room of 4 guys that are 5-star recruits that if you put behind that offensive line can run for 200 yards.
And you have the best coach college football scene.
Absolutely. So I feel for Bryce. I think it's the right decision. I do not think like his career is over. I think that if I'm a player in the NFL, that is one team that I will not go to in free agency. And like it's just so infuriating and frustrating seeing those dudes on the field. Just like Adam Thielen is not like a vocal dude, and you can just see his expressions and like his demeanor like just hit after he's like wide open running across the field and like no one can get to him. And yeah, maybe the quarterback should have made that pass. Maybe the offensive line should have held for a second more. But it's just like no matter what, this is the worst showing in football, even worse than the 09 Lions, which we talked about last week.
It's really bad, and it's one of those things, like, at what point are we going to get the ownership changed? Like,
yeah.
Because it's bad, and it's everyone's deflated, and, like, dude, I don't want to fully blame Bryce Young, because it's not all on Bryce Young. It's they just put him in a position to fail. It's like, this is what makes, as a Patriots fan, it makes me happy that we have a Jacoby Brissett to sit there, game manage, understanding that we're not a Super Bowl team this year. We may not be a playoff team this year, even though we might be. We may not be a playoff team this year, but this is valuable for Drake May to sit and learn and understand the game and come in when he's ready and when the Patriots are ready to have an explosive quarterback.
His time's coming.
His time. But I really hope it's not too soon, because I don't mind the way Brissett's playing right now. I'm cool with our offensive line's not great in the pass protection, but it's actually looked very good in the run game. We ran all over Seattle, who has one of the best run defenses in the entire NFL. And you'll see that as the season continues to progress.
Yeah.
But and we're going to go back to the Panthers here. It's just they set him up. They go, Bryce Young, he's plug and play. He was so good at Alabama. But guess what? You're not in Alabama anymore. Yeah. You're on the Carolina Panthers in the NFL, going against Cam Jordan twice a year, going against, Grady Jarrett twice a year. Like, he's playing real deal dudes that have already proven themselves in the NFL. And it's like the Carolina Panthers expected, plug and play. We're going to be nasty with Bryce Young in there. And we're going to get a 34-year-old Thielen. And we'll get Deontay Johnson, who doesn't look like he wanted to be on the field even when he was in Pittsburgh.
People don't even remember who he is right now.
We'll pay him $60 million, too. 12 a year to do nothing. Like, they fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's on the Panthers.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. And the accountability has to start from the head down. And, what the report is that decision came from, the coach, the GM, and the coordinators. But I have to think that, Tepper had something to say about that as well. Mm-hmm. 5 on the tight end rankings. Mark Andrews. I do actually feel like Mark Andrews had improved performance last week from what we saw in week 1. I mean, he was on the field a whole lot more. I think the Ravens as a whole just had, a really bad showing. It wasn't even like a bad showing. They just
let it slip.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, You can't keep it. It's the same thing what happened with the Eagles last night. You kept the team in too long, even though you played like the better team for, quite some time. And just when you have like certain players in the field, like for the Raiders, it was Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers. For the Falcons, Drake London showed up when it was needed. And I mean, Bijan did everything but get in the end zone last night for that damn team. I don't even want to say that Kirk played that great, if you want me to be honest with you.
I tell you what, though, he did what they brought him in to do, which was go down and win that game in a final drive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But do I think that they should have played better before every drive besides that final one? Yeah, I absolutely do. So I'm not ready to crown them by any means, especially with the way that Baker Mayfield's playing.
They're playing really, really good. I don't know that I'm ready to crown them NFC champs yet, but I will say I think that they're only going to get better from here. I think that's a big win that you guys look at each other in the locker room. They go,
you fired up about that.
We just did this in Philly. We can go do this.
Absolutely. 4 is where I have Travis Kelce. I'm not coming here expecting 10, 20 points or anything like that, but this dude should get 7 this week, like 50 yards and a couple of catches. Like
that might be top 3 worthy in the tight ends right now.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of a sad conversation if you want me to be real with you.
Right.
I don't even know where to start with this guy, and I'm so happy that I was telling you guys with Sam Laporta, like, don't draft these tight ends high. And now look, like, everyone that drafted these dudes is probably hurting at the running back position with CMC, hurting at any other position with Debo or A.J. Brown or, Pacheco or anything like that. And imagine you could have had that depth from a tight end that's putting up 3 right now.
Dude, like, I'm rocking Bowers in so many leagues, and I'm like,
yeah, thank God, bro. Thank God. Things are going to change. It's only week 2, and we're not going to panic yet. I'm going to have another episode for you guys this week, a quick one. Panic, don't panic, just some guys that we really need to elaborate on. But regardless of what your record says, you have until going into week 4 to change things around. If you're 0-4 at week 4, that's when, like, all right, you go to the drawing board. What guys are you able to give up on your team? What guys are you targeting on other teams? And how can you make that happen? So I know there's not too much time before that happens, but that's the timeline that you really want to reflect and kind of consider. 2 is where I have McBride, who got so freaking lucky on a touchdown this past week. But you did see that the numbers were a little bit more improved. And 1 is Bowers. I don't think I need to, really elaborate on the fact that he's playing against Carolina.
No Kittle?
No Kittle in the rank. I thought Kittle got banged up last week.
No, Kittle's good.
Did he not? Like I know he had a great performance last week, numbers wise, but like I could have sworn like this dude, I don't want to say was carted off the field, but like got off the field in a major way.
Brother? I swear he doesn't even have the questionable next to him. Fantasy.
No, I know that. So like he must have just came back into the game, but maybe I was just bugging. But yeah, Kittle probably should be on this list, but San Francisco was iffy.
They are iffy.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely put him on the list above Freiermuth, but I really don't think the positioning between 3 to 10 really matters that much. If you want me to be honest,
it literally doesn't. I did McBride at 5. I think he's a talented player. And I fuck with Arizona, man.
Yeah.
I fuck with Arizona. They're fun. They're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, great to see him get the ball early, often, and just put the foot on the gas right in that first corner to put any bus talk to bed.
To Bay.
Whatever.
Yeah, bringing Bay to bed.
4, Kyle Pitts, speaking of Bay.
Yeah.
I put him up here at 4 because I think that the Falcons' offense is going to start to click right now. And I think that, he got his 3 catches, but he's going to want more yardage. He's going to want to get in the end zone. He got in the end zone in week 1, but I think they're going to feed him more and more as an offense gets more and more comfortable. I think they're going to have a good week this week. 3, Sam Laporta. He is just a top tight end in terms of talent, so the upside's there. 2's Brock Bowers. 1, I have Kittle. I think with no Debo, I think that you can attack the middle of the field, especially against a Rams team that's really struggling to defend the pass game.
Banged up. Quarterbacks. 12, I have Joe Burrow. I think this is when we start to see the Bengals kind of click in the right direction. We did kind of see that, they had their moments to make things happen last week, and it just didn't happen like that. 11, I have Goff. Monday Night Football. Oh, no, Burrow's Monday Night Football. I'm sorry. Goff at Arizona. Jameson Williams is looking like a stud. I think that's, playing a huge part into Laporta not really having like that success. I definitely feel like I was wrong about Gibbs to this point too. Maybe just having like the big year. I'm not saying that he couldn't have like build on that or anything like that. And I expressed that. I just didn't love the positioning. But for the way the position's shaking out, he still seems like that was a great spot to kind of take him at. 10 is where I have Mahomes. So his spot and positioning is definitely impacted on the list this week. And it has to be, like, especially knowing that like they're going to be losing Pacheco. That's going to affect how successful everything else kind of gets set up. 9 is where I have Kyler. That could be low, but I think Detroit gets back in the win column this week, and I think Kyler will still have a Kyler-esque day, but I think Detroit is going to show them what a really good defense looks like.
How about all of us telling Christopher we're not trading for Kyler at the wedding? Yeah. Kyler goes out the next day, puts up 28 in the first half.
Listen, the reason why we can't trade with Christopher is because if there's a trade that Uncle Danny don't like, he's gonna be like, oh, he's gonna guilt trip us and be like, oh, you guys are cheating your cousin.
Yeah, he literally will.
So that's why, Christopher, you're just gonna have to learn and remember, we can always blame Uncle Danny. 8 is where I have Baker Mayfield. Dude's electric. I'm picking up Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold in leagues that I had Jordan Love in, and I would feel comfortable. How about playing those two guys for the rest of the year with the way things looked after 3 weeks, if you want to be honest with you. 7 is where I have Sam Darnold. I don't care that he's going against Houston. I think the Vikings are going to be competitive in this game. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but they'll definitely play this Houston team extremely tough, and I look for Danielle Hunter to really make some noise in this one.
Bro, Darnold's like really fucking good.
Yeah.
Now
what was the bold prediction?
I didn't.
Was it 5,000?
I think no, 4,000 yards for Darnold.
I mean, it was bold predictions.
No, it was 4,000 yards.
We're gonna have to fact check that.
And new starter for a new team next year. Yeah. But I thought he was gonna have like the Geno Smith comeback. I think it was like 4,000. I don't think it was giving Sam Darnold 5,000.
Oh,
maybe 4,200. I don't know. We'll go back. We'll check the receipts. If you haven't seen the bold predictions episodes, we're doing.
Go check that out.
But at 12, I have Dak Prescott. It is a tough matchup for them this week. Two teams that really need a win bad. I think Baltimore needs it more than Dallas does. They do,
but I have a feeling that the Cowboys are going to beat them, dude.
That's gonna be tough. But I do have Dak here at 12. I got Baker at 11. Broncos should be a big circle. Hey, big points. Something smelly about this one, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Broncos, Buccaneers. Remember what I said. Something's a little stinky about this game. So I have Baker here at 11, even though he's the #1 quarterback in fantasy football right now. Jaden Daniels, I have 10. I think his rushing ability is going to project him into the top 12 for most of these weeks until I see otherwise. 9, I have Lamar. I don't see him having more than 220 passing yards. I think he's going to have 50 rushing yards, maybe a touchdown rushing and passing, but I think it's going to stop there. Jalen Hurts at 8. Again, one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Just, he's got so many weapons around him, it's hard to say that he's not going to put up some points. And at 7, CJ Stroud at 7.
Wow, a little low for you.
Little low. I think he has a good week, but
Minnesota's defense going to show up.
I think they can run the ball too.
Okay.
I think they're going to have some success.
Is Mixon going to play?
I think
that was a real hip jaw tackle.
It was.
For all the things that the NFL's calling, like that's something that they should get right.
Yeah, but they wouldn't because he's not on the Chiefs. But I had to. I didn't put Mixon in here. I don't know if he's going to play or not, but I really think that they can run it with Pierce. I think they're going to be able to mix it in. In the spots
mix it in for mixing.
Give me some of that. Pardon the left. Give me some of that. But yeah, I got Stroud here at 7. I just looking at some of these lists. I think there's some big weeks for the quarterbacks.
Absolutely. We're gonna get through the top of the quarterbacks quick, and we have a lot more to talk about before we get to the running backs and wide receivers. 6 is Jaden Daniels, and I think like as long as he's not playing on a Thursday, like and not on the bye week, he's gonna be a top 7 quarterback. Like with the rushing ability, I think it's there. I do think his inability to stretch the field is impacting Terry McLaurin's play. Yes, they targeted Terry McLaurin a lot more in the passing game this past week. Had 6 targets. I want to say it was 4 or 5 receptions or so. But a number that also jumps off the page is that Terry McLaurin isn't a yak guy. He's a contested catch guy.
Right.
And if this dude's getting the ball under less than 10 yards or underneath the first down, he's not going to really have like that wiggle room to really do it. That's why you have a guy like Dotson.
Yep.
So, losing him, I think, is going to impact that tremendously. We'll talk about Terry in the panic war. Don't panic. At 5, this is where I have Josh Allen. Don't love the spot. I actually wanted to put him a little bit more behind because I think it's going to be a sloppy as hell game. I think whenever we get 2 Monday night games, it's terrible. It usually is.
We usually get like a Saints game.
Yeah, no, we do. In the second Monday night game,
is it Saints?
No, it's the Washington and Cincy.
Oh, yeah.
That one should be a little bit better, but I just think two is too many for Monday night. Give us 2 like Sunday night games and put them like split the TV and go half and half. I'd be about that, like a mini red zone. That'd be pretty cool. Scott Hansen, make that happen. At 4, this is where I have CJ Stroud. So I just think he's kind of getting to that ability where it's like, oh, if you're having like an iffy week on these rankings, name drop kind of by default, CJ Stroud can kind of deserve like that positioning.
100%.
And he's playing better than Mahomes right now. So
he doesn't turn the ball over either.
Yeah.
He's such a good, talented, like, but poised and composed quarterback.
Yeah.
He was going to win his team a lot of games for his career.
Honestly, like you have to kind of have more of a confidence knowing that like you have 3 receivers that are like really freaking good, and Tank Dell hasn't even really gotten involved yet, and a defense that can get you the ball back. So knowing that, and they all going to have tremendous trust and faith in D'Amico Ryan. So with all that being considered, things are looking up for Texans. 3 is where I have Dak, 2 is where I have Hurts, and 1 is where I have Lamar. We were talking about Hurts really on the back end of this list coming into the season. He's dicing.
Too many weapons.
Point guard.
What are we thinking?
Yeah. He's the point.
Too much going on over there.
The one thing is he's not rushing the ball like that. And, like, that's a fact. Like, that played into it. But
I think he only had 1 of those last night.
Yeah.
He only had 1, like, over 10-yard rush last night.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, he's playing. He's doing a good job keeping everyone over there at the helm. 6, I got Jared Goff. I do think that this Lions-Cardinals game is going to be points galore. And that's why at 5 I have Kyler. I think the Lions are going to pull it out, but I think it's going to be points galore. And I think Detroit's going to mix and run more than the Cardinals will.
Another 4-sack game for Hutchie? Potentially.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be 4. I think he's going to get after the quarterback a lot, but I think it's hard to bring Kyler down 4 times in a game. He just finds a way to get out of it. Like that miracle play he made to was that to Marvin Harrison too? Was that the second touchdown?
Oh! I thought you were talking about D-Hop versus the Bills. Like
where he like circled out. He had a game.
Yeah, no, he did. He
was
did.
just
He
going
did.
crazy.
Yeah.
4, I have Joe Burrow. Bengals are going to smack the Commanders this week. That's a spread. I'll take it 10.
Yeah.
I think that the Bengals are due to get right.
For sure.
I think they're starting to heat up, and I think that they're going to go off.
Yeah.
Passing the ball this week.
Jamar Chase might score 30.
Yep. Brock Purdy at the 3.
Purdy.
You can throw on this Rams team, buddy. You can tell. I can throw. I can throw on this Rams team.
Ayuk's the only dude that I have in here.
You think it's sloppy?
I have Mason. I think it's real sloppy. It's one of those division games where everyone's like, oh, the Rams are all banged up. Everyone picked the Niners. Yeah.
So many traps.
Yeah.
So many traps. Well, I'm falling for this one. I feel really good about Brock Purdy throwing the football this week. Mahomes, I have it too.
Wow.
Hasn't done anything to deserve it yet this year, but I do think he'll have it this week. I think he'll have a very good week, and I think with Pacheco going down, his play is going to need to stand up, and I think it's going to. And then when I got Josh Allen, I know that he didn't have the week that he wanted last week, but that's just because they beat the Bills so damn bad, so damn
didn't
early.
matter.
They didn't need to. And I think he's going to want to showcase his ability this weekend. So
absolutely.
Josh Allen won.
Before we get into the rest of the stuff, I do want to give a couple of shout outs. Since the Sandbox got a lot of love at the Scapa wedding this past weekend. So first got a shout out to all my guys up at Ithaca. I say my guys like I went to school with them, but it felt like that all the times I went up there, and the hospitality was great. Great people. No, great people for real. Always had a conversation, show love and support, after. So really appreciate those guys. Charlie Femino, had a great conversation with him, working over in Cambridge with cousin David, part of the force over there. But great dude, showed us a lot of love. Jim, Mort, Owen, you guys know the deal. You guys are always loyal when it comes to everything with the podcast. So really appreciate you guys. And it's like the first thing that everybody says too, like, Steve, the podcast is killing it. Steve, I'm like, guy, how are you? Like, you know what I mean? But
can we get a drink?
Yeah, no, I love that. And Yeah, I mean, we had conversations with so many of them. Me and Twan tried to hit the photo booth, but Gomes was holding it up.
Funny, them running out of espresso martinis at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
I drank them all.
So a couple things before we get to the running backs and wide receivers. First, what is more shocking of a 2-0 team, the Vikings or the Saints? It's a tough question.
I'm going to go Vikings because of who they did it to.
Yeah.
It was the San Fran game. It felt weird. I think you picked the Vikings too. You did? Yeah, you did.
And I picked the Bucks.
You picked the Vikings and you picked the Bucks. Yeah.
That's why I was saying the upset points. Like, if I was getting that, it would. But if we just said, hey, that's worth 2 wins, then, like, you know.
Did I grab the Bucks? I might have grabbed. Did I grab the Bucks?
I don't think you did.
You didn't?
I don't know.
Oh, stupid.
Did you? Because you probably bet them.
Because I got Atlanta. I know I got Atlanta.
Yeah.
No, I bet the Bucks 7.5. Yeah. It's a one fucking bet I hit on Sunday.
No, but I feel that though, and like, yeah, the expectations weren't there for the Vikings. Like, the Saints were kind of like an afterthought, but like, they are putting up points. I do think when teams,
the first team they beat.
Who, the Saints?
Think of it. No, the Vikings. Because the Saints beat the Panthers and the Cowboys. It was Niners and
Vikings played this was last week. Blanking. All good. But with the Saints, I do just kind of feel like once the Rashid Shaheed bombs slow down, that team is going to have to score differently. Like, yeah, Kamara is balling. Like, one of if not the best players in fantasy football. I know Rashid Shaheed is a guy that's on the waivers, and do you feel like he's someone that could be targeted? Like, I don't even know, because
you might as well. Someone's got to have him at this point.
Just not me.
He's a guy, like, I'd literally have that guy and have him sit on my bench the entire like season and just know that every week it's like, well,
at least he didn't score against me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't drop 3 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns against me. So
yeah. But you never have the balls to play him.
I don't, dude, because I know the second I do, it's 1 catch, 6 yards, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he didn't want to go over the top this game?
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah. No shit. What about Darnell Mooney? Is he a must-add?
He's got to be on teams and leagues because he is the wide receiver 2 there for a team that, finally has a quarterback. But he's not the number 2 option, in my opinion. He might not be the number 3 option.
McLeod?
No, I think it's Pitts and I think it's Bijan, both before him. And then obviously Drake, too.
Both Mooney and Ray McLeod had more targets than Pitts last night.
I know. I just don't think, I just can't see how you can
not throw
have
the ball to Pitts.
Talent like Kyle Pitts, because skill, talent, he has it.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get it to him, and that's what they've struggled with. But they will. They'll get there. I'm confident that they will. Mooney's a guy that should be on a team because he is wide receiver 2, and he has the big playability,
but kind of like the Rashid Shaheed thing where it's like, you're going to play him.
Exactly. Yeah. Where it's like he caught a touchdown last night for 40 yards, and then he caught another 25-yard catch. Yeah. I think he had 1 or 2 other catches, not for big yardage, but like.
In a flex spot, are you playing Zach Moss over both those guys?
Matchup. Probably leaning Zach Moss, but then again, like, the Chase Brown thing scares me because I kind of think Chase Brown's one of those guys that he's younger, he's very good.
I'm so confused. I thought he would be so much more involved. Do you think that just because like the Bengals are just starting slow?
I think they're starting slow, and we've seen this like season after season now.
For sure.
They're 0-2 Kings, and then find their way to play the Rams in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you though, I don't think 10 wins happens this year.
No,
I think Pittsburgh's still the team in that division.
But I mean, Pittsburgh might not even need to get 10 wins. Like.
They might not need to, but I think they're just gonna. I think they're gonna have so many close games. They're gonna win them all. Now they may drop the game to the Chargers this week. Feels weird there too. It feels like, oh, Chargers are way outperforming.
That's a game I'm not touching.
I'm not touching that game. Yeah. Not an over, not an under. It's going to be like 35.5, and they're going to shoot out.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, or if it's going to be, if I take an over, it's going to be.
There's going to be like 4. You know what? The only thing that I'll take in that, I'll probably take both teams to score a defensive touchdown in that game.
That's honestly money. That's fucking money, dude. Oh my god.
But those were 2 of the waiver guys that I wanted to talk about. 2 other guys, and you can feel free to add to the waiver conversation. Sam Darnold has to be rostered. And would you just
I was going to say Alec Pierce is my guy that I would add.
Alec Pierce?
He's the
only 2 weeks in a row for you.
That's 2. He's stretching the field.
Yeah.
And I keep going, you guys should pick up Alec Pierce. But I'm sitting there and I got Josh Downs and I'm like, well, when he gets healthy, I think he might take that role.
Yeah.
But like every time Richardson finds a way to get someone the ball for a crazy touchdown, it's Alec Pierce.
Absolutely. Last guy I think I need to mention here with the waivers, Bucky Irving. If Rachaad White does miss time, we've already seen this dude with Rachaad White healthy get some burn. If that's the case, like Bucky Irving needs to be rostered, he needs to be held. If you're weak at RB and you're just relying on a guy like Javonte Williams to like run the ball, go get a dude like this. So like even Najee, who I know was like he's performing a little bit better, but still like struggling, not getting that. Bucky Irving on an offense and a team that you already have kind of seen that they're putting up points and can still be successful. Yep. So I think that's just kind of what to keep in mind. There. Do you have any other waiver guys to add?
I think no one knew.
All good. Couple questions. Can the Rams compete with all these injuries, or is it just too much?
Yes, they'll win a couple games here and there, but it's going to be the classic random games that you don't see them winning. Like this weekend could be one of those, but like it's going to be here and there. It's going to be unexpected, but with all these injuries, you can't look at the Rams like, don't worry, they just have Stafford. It's fine. It's not like that with them. It isn't, and I get they have McVay and I get they have Stafford, but they don't have Donald. Their defense isn't as good as it was last year. Even though they added Trey White and they drafted a great player, and were they not Latu? They were
for who? The Bucks?
No, the Rams. What's the name of the guy?
Pass rusher.
Verse?
Yes,
Jared Verse. Yeah, so they get Jared Verse. They have Trey White. I just don't see it being this year for them. No, they'll win a couple here and there, but it's not. I am panicking if I'm a Rams fan.
Yeah, no, I feel that. All right, running backs, wide receivers, Tom.
Great.
Which one?
Running backs. We always want to finish with
yes, sir. Running back starting off the list, just off injuries considered, Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker. If both those guys play, you saw with Achane last week, you play your stars. You have to. Don't beat yourself. That's the worst way to lose. Starting off the list at 20 is Bucky Irving, though. Going against the Broncos, I do think like this is an opportunity for them to potentially, put up some points in a little rookie showcase for this dude. 19 is where I have Tony Pollard. Has to make the list. A dude that, people probably got for a great value in a lot of their fantasy leagues. He's the guy, and there is no Tajay. So that bold prediction.
He did get banged up a little bit last week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. So he's questionable this week. But Steve, you'll see where I have Tony Pollard as well. So, but he did get a little banged up. I'm not selling on Tajay Spears.
Not yet. 18 is where I have Mixon. So he is in the list. I just think like this is a team that's going to stay balanced and like they're going to keep him like as the focal point as long as he's healthy and on the field. 17 is Achane. That could be a little bit low, but it's so tough because I feel like Miami might try to like rely on him and knowing that like at the same time like he might underperform. So 17, I mean you're still playing him as a RB1, RB2 like in most of your fantasy leagues. 16 is where I have Monty against Arizona. I think he actually has a huge game. David Montgomery. 15, ETN Monday Night Football. Hoping for a better performance. Obviously, we saw him, kind of shine in week 1, and last week was just like a weird week for Jacksonville. It really was. But going against Buffalo, I think that's the way to kind of beat them is on the ground. So,
and he has a touchdown each week so far.
Yeah.
So even if he's not getting the yardage, he's still getting in the end zone.
Yeah, you love that. 14, Aaron Jones going against Houston. I mean, if the Vikings can't run the ball, they're not able to be as effective and efficient as an offense, and that's a huge part of them being able to score points and pull an upset like they did last week. 13 is where I have Jacobs at Tennessee. Think it's going to be a sloppy, gross, messy game. Tennessee was in a position to win 2 weeks in a row, and Will Levis did mess that up. It's not going to happen this week. After they overcame a big win, everyone's going to be like, oh, they're going to win again. Nope, Tennessee's going to get them right. 12 is where I have J.K. Dobbins going against Pittsburgh. I'm not afraid of the matchup, honestly. I think him and Gus Edwards might run the ball for 30-plus times, between the two of them. This isn't a team. I know last week they beat the Panthers passing the ball, but this isn't a team that's going to win the game by passing. Once they invest in the running back position and they draft a guy later on, because I'm sure Jim Harbaugh is going to find a guy like that, they're going to be a serious problem. Herbert doesn't look great, though. I will say.
Doesn't.
And 11, B-Rob. Brian Robinson needs to be a top 15 running back week in and week out, and I can't believe that he fell to the draft positioning that he did. Absolute steal.
Love B-Rob. There's 2 B-Robs, but Tony Pollard at 20. So I have him in here to start the list. I I just think he's going to be featured in that offense, and while Tennessee runs into these issues where they're playing from down, still think Tony Pollard can get the ball. 19, James Conner. Might be a little low, but I just don't think it. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we'll get somewhere. We'll get somewhere.
That's really low, Twan. This dude's balling out.
I don't think they're running the ball. I don't think they're going to run the ball.
It don't matter, though. He's catching it.
I just don't. I'm not confident on him being the guy this week. I think it's going to be a lot of McBride. I think it's going to be a lot of MHJ. I think Michael Wilson might get in the end zone. I think there's going to be points, but I think they're going to struggle to get the ball to James Conner. 18 is the Rashad White / Bucky Irving. Whoever ends up playing, one of those guys is in there. 17, I got Najee. I will say, Najee's in there because I think he gets a touchdown this week. JK and Gus are not in there because I don't think they're going to run it in for a touchdown this week. And when you have those guys sharing the backfield like that and not really effective in the passing game, I don't like putting them against a team like Pittsburgh in these. So I left them out. 16, I had Brian Robinson. A little bit of a tricky matchup this week against Cincinnati. I think they're going to be down a lot, and while they have been able to get him the ball, I think that's where Eckler will be featured more is in the passing game. 15, I got Aaron Jones. Completely agree with you. They're going to get him the ball. 14, I got Ramondre. I know you don't do Thursday games, but he's a top 20 running back. Super, super talented guy, and the Patriots love to feature the running back game right now. 13, I have ETN. Self-explanatory. Guy's getting in the end zone. He's got a matchup against Buffalo this week, which we both like. Devon Achane, I have a 12.
Okay.
Might be a little low, but again, with the injury to Tua, it's going to be
Damn, you think 12 is low, so you definitely think that my 17 spot's low.
Yeah, a little bit, but like again, he's very boom or bust. I just think they can get him the ball in different ways, but he's not a top 10 guy to me. And 11, Kyren Williams.
Okay.
Might be a little low compared to where you didn't say him yet, right? Yep, so he might be a little low compared to your list.
Not too off though.
I'm not too crazy on him right now. I just need to see what the Rams actually do.
They just probably are going to run the ball 30 times, and this is when you're going to start to see Corum.
Yeah,
like that'll be the only saving grace for the Rams to get +7 wins is them running the ball, averaging 4+ yards a carry 35 times a game. Because the time of possession would be crazy. They'd be going at their own pace. Matthew Stafford gets to play, play action and just kind of sit back there. I just don't know if they have the offensive line to do that.
And you get really tired of Blake Corum and Kyren Williams running you over.
Absolutely.
You get really tired
Absolutely.
of that.
10 is where I have Mason. I don't love the matchup, if you want me to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure Mason fell into the end zone last week, but didn't have a huge day, and after the 28 rushes and 140 rushing yards on a surprise start for the dude, I don't think like that should be the standard or the expectation. If he gets you 12+, be very happy knowing that like that's supposed to be a handcuff back. At 9 is where I have D-Hen. I don't love the matchup for Derrick Henry, and I know that a team like the Cowboys, like they're not the brightest bulb of the bunch, like by any means, but Mike Zimmer is going to stop the run here. Zay Flowers is going to have a huge day. Right?
Do you think they can stop the run?
I think they're going to do their best.
I think that this has been a problem for them for 3 years now, and they have done fuck all to figure it out. I can't see it happening.
I know. And Kamara ran all over them, but I also saw the big plays from Shaheed, and I honestly think on a lot of those big plays, Olave was open too. It's not like he wasn't. It's just like, man, like Carr really has that time, and Talise Fuaga has been an integral part of that offensive line. So that's been a huge addition for them. But I mean, 9 is still a good spot for Derrick Henry. I mean, it's less than 15 rushes and it's a touchdown, So at 8, this is where I have James Cook. I mean, 3 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football. That's a tough act to follow, and I don't know if he gets in the end zone this week, but he's a scrimmage yard dude, like for that team, and that's how they get up and down the field. But we will be talking about a Buffalo Bill wide receiver on the list this week. That's a fact.
Love it.
7, this is where I have Kyren Williams. Until his wheels fall off, he's going to have to be, because there's no other option for this Rams team. So I think Kyren can have a solid week. We saw that Aaron Jones had somewhat of a successful day. Expect very similar for Kyren. 6, this is where I have James Conner, Twan. James Conner.
Not 19?
No.
Oh, damn.
Definitely not. The Trey Benson talk, he's still a good stash for later on in the season.
Yeah, right.
I mean, still getting 11 rushes. I know he was not productive on those at all, But this is kind of what you want to see. And yeah, like guys that we slacked on, Tony Pollard, James Conner, Chris Godwin, they're all balling out right now. And it just really goes to show you that value is the most important part of all these fantasy drafts. Speaking of value, Alvin Kamara here, right at 5. 4 is where I have JT. Don't love the matchup versus Chicago defense, but I kind of feel like Indy's going to win this one.
I do too.
And it's weird. It's not clear or concise. He might be just as gross as the Packers game, but I think JT has a solid game. 3 is where I have Gibbs, best positioning on the year. He's a large part on how they get up and down the field, especially with Amon-Ra hobbling around. Like, I know that they said it could have been cramping. I know that they said it could have been a strain. So thank God it wasn't anything, serious or anything like that with all the injuries going on in the league. Does make you a little bit wary. But Gibbs should have a big day going against Arizona. 2 is Saquon. First thing, I need to put this down for this. We need to talk about this. How happy are you about that, though? No, I don't think that game is Saquon's fault. I don't.
No, it's not his fault, but it's nice to know that he's the reason that he's.
I actually don't feel that way at all. If you want to, I think that was I think Saquon is the scapegoat there. That team does not score 16 points in that game if Saquon does not have the game that he does. Ran the ball effectively, got them first downs, and got a bunch of chunk plays when nobody else but Devonta Smith could do so. I actually think that what was wrong there was the decision-making made by Sirianni. That's a team knowing how well Saquon has ran the football, that you hand the ball off, they have to burn that timeout, and if you're at a 4th and 1, you go and win the game with Jalen Hurts. You don't just settle for a field goal and like, yeah, they're up 6, and our defense is going to be good enough to stop it. Every single time we see a team be conservative in those scenarios, they lose, no matter how unforsaken it was. The Eagles had a 97% chance to win that game at 2 minutes left. That game, I'm not even guaranteeing that that's a first down from Saquon. So if that's how you feel, that has to be 2 down territory. That clock needs to be ran. Timeout needs to be gone. That's on Sirianni, and I can't believe how many people just let Saquon say, yeah, that's on me. And of course, for the good fucking dude that he is, he's going to take that blame. And 100% he would think that he needs to make that play too.
First of all, I think he does need to make the play. He needs to make the catch. It's not 100% on Saquon. Granted, the play call schemed him open. If he caught that, he has a first down.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a guarantee.
I think he had the space to get it.
There's a likely chance he makes that dude miss, but I mean, it was well before the first yard.
But now what I will say also is that is 4 down territory. To go with the Sirianni thing, they went for it right away on 4th and 4 to start the game.
Absolutely.
You need to kick that field goal and set the tone. Okay, we didn't score the touchdown, but you know what? It's 4th and 4. It's not 4th and 1. You're not pushing here. You're kicking the field goal. You're getting the 3 points. You're going to go play defense.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're going to make Atlanta try and show you, and then your next drive, you're going to know, okay, that's what Atlanta wants to do. But then you get to this scenario, and yes, Saquon needs to catch this ball, but you're sitting there on 3rd down. You run it so that way the clock runs down, and if you want to go for it and you want to throw, you throw for it on 4th down because the possession changes and the clock stops anyway.
Yes.
So that's when you throw the football. Don't love the decision-making. Yes, Sirianni's a dumbass. I also think it's kind of Kellen Moore, too.
Do you?
Kellen Moore, I think, is really in full control of that offense right now, and I think he's kind of making that decision.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Sirianni may have just lost the team.
I just think that they had such a successful ground game, all night. That's just my whole thing. And one is where I have Bijan. I mean, Bijan absolutely ate it up. But that's my reflection of the game. And look, for Saquon being an Eagle, I just don't think that's right, knowing that if Saquon didn't play the way he did, the Eagles might not have scored a single touchdown that game.
That offense is really going to be running through him. Steve, at 10, I got Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
So I just don't think it's going to be as easy for him this week as it was last week. I think teams are going, all right, we saw this whole Malik Willis thing. They really need to work this game through Josh Jacobs. Let's scheme it a little bit better. Now, I still think he gets in the end zone. I still think he gets maybe 80 yards, couple catches, but I'm putting him at 10. 9, I have James Cook. Very close to where he had him. I think he has a good game. 8, Now, I know I said I don't think there's any fucking way Dallas stops running the football. I got Derrick Henry here at 8. Still think he's going to get in that top 10 spot. I just think they're going to struggle still. I do think Baltimore wins that game, by the way. 7, I got Jahmyr Gibbs. Just love the way this dude plays. Might be a little bit low, but at the end of the day, he's still in the top 10. He still is very highly used, but they got a lot of weapons on that team, and I think they might be able to spread it around when they're playing a team like Arizona. 6, I got Alvin Kamara. I mean, he put up 44 points last week. He's in the top 10. He's still playing like one of the best backs.
Don't expect 44 every week, though.
Absolutely not. He may get 20 this week. Maybe. We'll see. 5, Jordan Mason. I do like the matchup. I really do think they're going to be able to do whatever they want to the Rams this week. 4, I got Breece Hall. You don't have him because he's in a Thursday game, but Breece Hall, if you were doing Thursday games, he's in a top 5 near you.
Top 3.
Top 3. 3, I got Saquon, one of the best backs in the league, will be one of the best backs in the league until he calls it quits. 2, I got Jonathan Taylor. I think we get a big week from JT this week. And 1, I got Bijan. When the ball's in his hands, there isn't anybody better right now.
Yeah, plain and simple. I'm surprised that he didn't catch the ball more last night, if you want me to be honest with you. And just with the way everything's shaking out with the New York Giants, Joe Shane is probably going to lose his job this year.
Probably.
I don't know so much like Dable. I'm assuming that they're going to be like a package deal, but just with the way the whole Saquon Barkley thing like kind of shook out, and if we have Saquon, we probably beat the Washington. Sad to say, yeah, honestly. But
it's just one of those scenarios where like they need change all around. It is what it is. Like they should.
But like we've. I can't. We're running out of time. No, we're running out of time. You guys don't need to hear that right now.
You do. Yes,
you know what you need to hear.
We don't hear it enough. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
You need to hear the wide receivers. So let's go over to the wide receivers. All right. Another day, because I'm sure the frustrations will continue. 20s where I have Godwin. So pair of Bucks wide receivers in the rankings. As long as Godwin's as efficient and effective and on the field available, he's going to be in this list. 19. Come on, Rook. Brian Thomas, stand up. Brian Thomas in the rankings. Bro, double-digit fantasy points 2 weeks in a row as a rookie. Christian Kirk, the role that we thought he was going to have as a 1.
It's Brian Thomas's role.
I will say there was a holding penalty on a touchdown that Kirk caught this past weekend. Very frustrated about it. But have to give Brian Thomas his flowers. He's consistent. He's balling. At 18, I told you we're going to have a Buffalo Bill wide receiver, and if his last name is not Shakir, then he does not deserve to be on the list. This dude, absolutely huge part. I would say, I don't want to say just as important, but almost just as important as James Cook is to this offense. And I think Keon Coleman will find his way to come around, but I think it's going to take some time, and that's okay. Shakir is the guy that you can start right now. I'm starting him over Christian Kirk this week. I'm starting him over Terry McLaurin this week. No doubt in my mind. At 17, Jameson Williams, a pair of Lions wide receivers, and I think versus a very poor Arizona defense that he might have another game of 130-plus yards. 16, Tyreek Hill. Don't love the positioning. Don't know who the quarterback is going to be. I know it only takes one play for Tyreek, but if you double team him, no matter who the quarterback is, and you tell everybody else to beat you, they're probably not scoring more points than Seattle does. 15, Devontae Adams. Much better week this week. I think that him and Bowers are the focal point, of that offense. I think they need to find ways to get him the ball more. Samir White and Madison is not the focal point of that offense, and I don't care if they have to pass the ball 40 times a game. Bowers and Adams need to see 10 targets a game each. Like no doubt in my mind. Mayer doesn't need any targets. He's not that elusive with the ball in his hands.
But I think he's a good mix-in with Bowers, though. I think he can play good football still.
No, I'm not saying that he's a bust or anything like that. I just think that if Mayer was that, then he would have showed that last year. With probably, is it a better quarterback scenario last year than it is this year? Even though the same dude's like There, I have no
I'd
idea.
say Minshew's still levels above Jimmy Garoppolo. So
that's a fact. But Devontae Adams, very, very good performance. 4 teams where I have Mike Evans could be a little bit low going against Denver. I didn't know if this should be, a Pat Surtain type of treatment or if like this is a Mike's in the end zone regardless type of day. Kind of felt a little bit of both. 13, Drake London. If he did not catch the touchdown and have that last drive that he did, he wouldn't have been in this rankings list at all. But that was huge. That's what you want to see, like from a guy like that. You want to see your best players perform, and that was an important catch, and he had a couple of them through the game.
The move he fucking put on, bro,
was
the
nice.
fake break in and then just right out.
It was really pretty, and that alone. But not enough above Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is going to be a top 13 fantasy wide receiver. Yes, I know Daniel Jones was throwing him the ball. Trust me, I know. But 18 targets, I want all of that. The only other person that had higher this year is Cooper Kupp. That's a great conversation to have. Just don't get hurt the next week. That's most important. 11, Zay Flowers. Zay's going to eat this week, and he's going to continue to eat. Zay's going to be a top 15 fantasy wide receiver this year, no doubt.
Oh, my God, I know who the Vikings played week 1.
Ravens?
G-Men.
Oh.
Yeah. It was the G-Men, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Tougher competition.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why did Zay Flowers just make you think of that?
I don't know. Well, because I was thinking about Malik Neighbors, because at 20, I have Malik Neighbors, so I have him a little low. I get it. Super talented. Very, very good. Still think he sees 13, 14 points. Just don't know if I see the end zone this week. When you're talking a lot of these receivers, I do see end zone, but the only guy I don't is right above him, Amari Cooper. I have at 19. So I think they're going to work him in. Oh,
bro,
you're so mad.
No, I'm not mad about that. I'm worried about Amari Cooper.
You really?
Bro, he has 4 fantasy points in 2 weeks.
I understand. I think the focal point is just get him the ball this week, see if he can do something with it. Because you see, dude, like when he has his matchup, he will just go for 13, 204 touchdowns. Like he has those games. I'm going to put Amari in the rankings this week, and it's going to work. Trust me.
Why? Because he's playing the fucking Giants?
Maybe. But yeah, that's what I put these guys next to each other because I don't think there's many points in this game. But I do think that, just going to say it, I do think that the Giants secondary can get thrown on a little bit. Their front is okay. I think it's going to be harder to run the football on them, even though Washington showed us the opposite last week. But I do think that it'll right the ship this week. But I do think Malik Neighbors is going to have a tough matchup. He's going to draw the Denzel Ward string. So Drake London, 18. Got to have him in the top 20 after the touchdown. Adam Thielen, I got here at 17.
Oh.
Bro, I think that just...
Boo! You put fucking Adam Thielen above Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
Guy,
buddy.
I'm all done with your rankings for the week.
Yeah,
all
right, buddy.
Done.
So, Andy Dalton coming in, that's when he is randomly going to connect with Adam Thielen a bunch this weekend, and we can clip that.
Couldn't even be Leggett.
Dude, it's not, no, it's going to be Adam Thielen. Because Adam Thielen's the guy that went in the media and he yapped a little bit this weekend. So he's going to be the one that goes in there. He played with Andy Dalton last year, and they had a decent connection for some of the times they were playing last year. Adam Thielen here at 17. 16, Garrett Wilson. He's going to be in this ranking, but I like the ability of Christian Gonzalez to keep him to less than what we would normally expect out of a Garrett Wilson. 15, Devontae Adams, same exact spot you had him. 14, might be a hot take because we haven't seen anything from him this year, but I'm going DJ Moore.
Okay.
I think DJ Moore is going to be able to get the ball in different ways this week, and I think that he's going to be able to get some points. 13, Mike Evans. I don't have him too high. I think the PS2 treatment could be there, but it's still Mike Evans. He's got to be in the rankings, even though he didn't show great prowess last week. 12, it's not DK Metcalf. It's Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay.
Love his matchup this week. I really love his matchup this week, especially against Miami. I don't know who's going to try and cover him.
Just finish.
And 11, I got Zay Flowers.
Oh my God. I was just about to flip the fuck out if you didn't say Zay, because I know you wouldn't have put him in the top 10.
I got him at 11.
And I was like, not only that, you're going to put fucking Adam Thielen. My God.
Right now.
Oh my God, man. Fuck.
Just wait.
Oh, I'll be fucking waiting all season. Okay. I'll be waiting for the next Adam Thielen to come out. At 10, DK Metcalf. I think what we saw versus the Patriots is the expectation for DK. He's not a speed dude, but if you have him one-on-one, that's a challenge, no doubt. 9, Rashee Rice. As long as the health scenario like Kansas City is, Rashee Rice is going to lock himself in the top 10. Matt, I hope you're listening downstairs, banging on the floor a little bit. He's been dying for Brandon Ayuk to do anything. Brandon Ayuk is going to come alive this week, and Brock Purdy's going to have tunnel vision on that dude, no doubt. 7, MHJ. If that's the MHJ that we're going to see, then that's the positioning that MHJ deserves. 6, Devonta Smith. The Slim Reaper. Devonta Smith, man, that's a real good dude. And I can't believe that there was 3+ leagues I got him in after round 5.
He's so good,
that's crazy.
That's what we said. It'll be similar numbers to what A.J. Brown will put up all season long. Now, I get it's weird because A.J. Brown didn't play last week, but I think he was the guy. He's the guy in that offense. 5,
Jamar Chase is going to ball out.
Yep.
Jamar Chase is going to catch 2 touchdowns this week. Yep. 4, CD. CD going against Baltimore. I think he should have a great week too. 3, JJ. I think he's going to come back healthy. Not worried about Stingley for him by any means. 2, St. Brown. St. Brown's going to have a big week. I think Arizona's going to have some problems with those wide receivers. And 1, this dude is going to lead the NFL in receiving yards.
Is it a hot take?
I mean, who's one guy that I didn't say that you thought should be on my list?
Nico
Collins.
Okay, give me some.
Nico Collins. Nico Collins is going to lead the NFL in receiving yards. And last night, plus 1,000 on that. He's plus 1,000 on that, and Saquon's plus 1,000 on rushing yards. Still. Try to parlay it on DraftKings. They wouldn't let me, though.
Oh, they don't want all that money. That's
They don't want to all that for the way that they cucked me, I deserve that shit.
10, I got MHJ. He's a baller, dude. Top receiver in the league. 9, I got Tyreek. I just think they'll find a way to get him the ball behind the line, and he'll break 1 or 2. 8, I got Nico, so lower where you got him. But I know he's been balling. He's been balling. I think CJ might mix in a couple guys this week too, but I still got Nico in the top 10. I think he is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. 7, I got Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be very active with no Pacheco. 6, exactly where you had him. I had Devonta Smith. 5, I got Jettas. I do think he'll be healthy. I do think I'm not worried about Stingley much at all either. But he's number 5 because I think Amon-Ra's going to have a better week than him at 4. Ayuk at 3. I agree, tunnel vision. I think we see 120 and 2 touchdowns off 10 catches from Ayuk this week. 2, I got Jamar Chase, getting in the end zone twice, getting over 120 yards. And CD, I got at 1. I mean, I just look at this dude, and other than other than Justin Jefferson, there isn't a better receiver in the league than the guy.
Absolutely. All right, well, I want to talk about some bets for the week before we wrap up. So I put down here some teams that, I mean, it's still early, but I'm going to lean towards the Eagles over the Saints this week. I think the Titans are going to get a tough win over the Packers.
I think so, too.
You heard me say what I said about the Panthers in Miami. I still feel very strongly about that. Lions are going to get a strong dub, and that line isn't crazy, which is actually surprising to me. And the Jaguars are going to win with a 5.5 spread on Monday Night Football on the road. And got some props for you. Amon-Ra is going to score after he cucked me last week. Of course, he's going to score this week. So I'll trust me, I'm going to be getting my money back on DraftKings for sure this week. Next, Tony Pollard. As long as he's healthy, he'll get in the end zone this week. And Thursday night, I don't give you guys Thursday night games, but I'll give you a Thursday night prop. Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 300 yards. He ain't going to do it Thursday versus the Pats. Gotcha, brother.
Come on now. Needed that. You think that the Pats can sneak that game?
Yeah.
You think they will?
Yeah.
Fucking love that. I love that, man. I think they're just competitive enough to keep a lot of those games close, and they'll squeak a couple out.
Thursday Night Football division game. Anything can happen.
And it's the Jets against the Patriots still somehow. So.
And this was the game that you were head scratching on my schedule predictions, and I was like, the Pats are going to win that game. You said week 3 in New York? Are you serious, Steve?
I love it. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep saying, no, the Jets will do great, because then they won't.
Yeah.
So Jets will do great. My bet, I really, really like the Vikings-Texans game to shoot out. I thought that the Texans and the Bears game was a lot slower than I expected. I think this game will be a lot more of a shootout. So I like the over 45.5 in that. I weirdly like the Broncos to cover against the Bucs 6.5 this week. I don't know why. It feels nasty.
Yeah.
It feels like a nasty, ugly game, and the Broncos are going to cover 6.5. I'm going to say it here too, and I don't like it. Panthers are covering 5.5 against Vegas.
All day
They're
long.
covering 5.5
off a
Vegas.
big win versus the Ravens. Come on.
It just feels wrong, man. That feels like a wrong line. I'm going the other way of you on this one, though.
Miami.
I think Baltimore takes care of business this weekend.
I think if Baltimore was going to take care of business, the spread would be a little bit different.
I understand that. I really think that Dallas is weak in the run game. I think they can try and address it, but I think when you're looking at an option between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and you're already struggling in the run game, you are in for a long game.
Last week, I took a 2-touchdown parlay that had Kenneth Walker, CD, and D. Hen. I might just take the same 2-touchdown parlay again, and those two dudes might score 2 touchdowns in the same game.
Yep. They really might. I'm gonna go with the Ravens to rout them. That's probably one of my favorite bets.
Okay. Since the Sandbox fans, this is going to wrap things up for the Week 3 fantasy football rankings. Make sure you guys stay in tune because we know it's getting to that point in time in the season where you start to lose sleep over what's going on in your roster, on the waivers, and everything in the NFL. But don't worry. We got you. And we got another episode coming to you too. You guys know the deal. If you have any fantasy questions, hit Ask the Show link or send us a message on Instagram. Peace, love, 5 stars, nothing less.